Hello everyone, it's Jenko, the bad boy of Warhammer, and you know what? Warhammer's just hitting all the platforms recently. The game's going from strength to strength. Now we're in 10th edition. The reveals from the Las Vegas Open happened not long ago, but I don't want to touch about that too much. So yeah, we've got, video games are coming out. Space Marine 2. There's a few others I think there is in the works. The tabletop game. The Secret Level episode came out. There's the Henry Cavill, led cinematic universe coming out, and a lot of people have asked. I've seen on various platforms such as TikTok and Facebook and stuff like that. What's the best book to read to get into the Warhammer, novels? And there's a lot of answers to that. There's a lot of answers to that. I'm going to try and give my I'm going to try and give my answer on it. I do have one that I recommend. But we'll get into that in a minute. There's a lot of there's a lot of issues with Warhammer books. Warhammer books are only in print for so long, unless they're like mainstay titles. You can only really buy them in the Warhammer stores themselves or at Warhammer World, from what I can see. Online, you can definitely buy them at other retailers, but out in the wild, if you go to a bookstore, you'd have real trouble finding them. Once they're out of print, they do become expensive to a degree online, the special editions especially. They can be very hard to find. There are whole Facebook groups dedicated to buying and selling the Black Library books, because that's the publishing arm of Warhammer. They have their own publishing arm, which is why they only print so many books. So yeah, they can be expensive. They can be hard to find, but there are people out there that do it. Unfortunately, with that said, scalpers are a big problem, especially with big releases in Warhammer. It's a big problem. So I just want you to know those three things going into this, that they can be hard to find, they are expensive, and scalpers are a real cause of this. But let's get into it. So I would never recommend a huge series of books to get into to begin with. I just wouldn't do it, because there's the Horus Heresy series. I mean, a lot of people, I've got a stack of books here. Talk about some of these. A lot of people recommend reading the Horus Heresy books. This is a real good one, because this, focuses on the White Scars, the Space Marine Legion, who are completely oblivious to what's going on with the Horus Heresy. By design, they don't want to be involved with other Space Marines, really. And that's perfect for someone just trying to get into a 64-book long series written by dozens of authors, countless short stories. I think if you wanted to read everything, I think there is something in the line of 120 stories to read. I believe that's right. It's probably way more. There are whole graphics dedicated to it, which follows characters, different Space Marine legions, different plot points and story point. There's it's a real big, go for it. If you're gonna do it, you've got to go hard. So just bear that in mind going in. It's 64 books, I think. It's 64 books long. So just bear that in mind if you go into that. I would never say start with the Horus Heresy book. I do think it's good. I do think it's a good series. I'm listening to it on audiobook. I'm on book 40 something at the minute. That's just what works for me. If I'm driving around at work, because that's my job, I'm on the road a lot. So listening to audiobooks is a big thing for me. So the Horus Heresy books, they are good. Some of them are, better than others. Some of them are not as good. But on the whole, it's a great story. It really does set up everything that's going to come, in the story 10,000 years in the future and in between. But like I said, it's a big old slog to get through, and I wouldn't recommend starting there. Some people say do that first. I wouldn't say that. It is too big. There's a lot of complicated words. Things that I was looking up on my Kindle when I was trying to read it on my Kindle on the ebook format, and I was like, why is everyone's humor's out of line? Turns out that's a thing. That's just that's an old saying that somehow made it into the far, far future. So yeah, the Horus Heresy, like I say, there are some great books in it. This one's one of my favorite. It's really, really good. And the novella for this as well is also really good. Just bear that in mind. It's long. Go ahead and read it by all means, but bear in mind it's long. Some of the books are hard to get now, and it's just it's one of those things. So the next series after the Horus Heresy is the Siege of Terror. It's a lot shorter. I don't think there's short stories, novellas in it. It's definitely less than 20 books if I'm remembering right. And it's about the end of the Horus Heresy. So the Horus Heresy lasts for 7 years, and culminates in, I think it's like a week-long battle for the solar system. Or is it a month-long battle? Longer than that. Anyway, the Siege of Terror is what it says on the tins. It is the fight for the solar system, and the end of the Horus Heresy. So it's the battle for Earth, and it's really good. And that one battle is like 20 books long. It is really good. The last book was written by Dan Abnett, who started the Horus Heresy, and it was supposed to be 1 book long. Then it became 2, and then it became 3 books long. The last book is 3 books long, and there's so much in there. Do not go into this without me saying it is big. It is huge. You are gonna it's gonna be a real time sink. Like I said, it's great. It's a great series. By all means, read it. But just remember that going in, it is just huge. Okay, so well, I said the name Dan Abnett. There's another couple of series. He's done like 4 or 5 different series. His most popular one, by all means, is the Gaunt's Ghost books. You'll find this in any Warhammer store. You'll find this novella, and it's got one of my favorite books in it, which is Necropolis, which is the 3rd Gaunt's Ghost books, and they are fantastic books. Don't get a favorite character, is all I'm saying. Don't have a favorite character, because you'll get upset. That's all I'm saying, is you'll get upset. The Gaunt's Ghosts are the Tanith first and only Imperial Guard regiment, or Astra Militarum regiment. They do all kinds of war zones, and it really follows the average guardsman right up to its command structure and through various missions. Great books, really, really good books. I'm rereading it now, actually. I'm on book 13, I think. I'm on Salvation's Reach myself on that. And there's a couple of anthologies. I think there's 3 or 4 anthologies in that series as well. Lots of short stories by different authors. And there's some really good stuff in that. And the Gaunt's Ghost novels it's so well written, honestly. Someone will fire a lasgun in it and you'll duck. You'll be like, whoa. Just don't get a favorite character. Like 10 out of 10 series. Very long. I think 15 books, 14, 15 books. Very long. Great series though. Very good series. This is one of the ones where it's hard to find the books for. You'll find the founding relatively easy. Like I say, you'll find the founding in any of the bookstores, and you might even find the last book in the series, The Victory Part 2, as an omnibus as well. You might find that in there. So yeah, it's hard to find the books in that series, but a great read, fantastic read. We're going to touch on just another one by Dan Abnett, because he writes so many and he writes so good. This is not the book I want to talk about, but it's the second of 3 trilogies he's written. So he writes the Inquisition trilogies. So the first one is Eisenhorn, then there's Ravener, and we are currently on Beckwin. And we're waiting for the 3rd book of that to come out. Now, the Eisenhorn book is the one I wanted to show, but I've lent my copy to a friend, so I don't actually have that here to read, to talk about even, sorry. So the Inquisitors are the secret police of Warhammer. Not like that. They're good. They're not all good. Some of them are bad. And it's them dealing with the nasty, creepy, horrible, conspiracies in the background. Most books focus on the front lines, the wars, whereas the Inquisition series focus on behind the scenes, what's going on in everyday life. And it is really weird to think that in Warhammer there are people that have everyday lives. So yeah, that deals with that, and they're really good books. Like I say, I wanted to show the Eisenhorn. Oh, actually, Eisenhorn is now 4 books with the newest omnibus. Yes, and you can find Eisenhorn, the omnibus for Eisenhorn. You can find that in Warhammer. Great book, fantastic reads. Honestly, it's very weird because it's in first person, which I always think is strange to read, but it's really good. It's really well written. It really throws you into it in a good way. and it's just really good read. So there's the Eisenhorn quadrilogy, which was a trilogy when it was coming out. So the Eisenhorn quadrilogy, the Ravenor trilogy, and the Beckwin trilogy. We were just waiting for the last book, but apparently the last book has got this big whole lore shaking thing in it, and it hasn't been released. Waiting for that. The next one is, if you like Space Marines, then you can buy and read and listen to just most of the Space Marine chapters have their own novel series. Most of the main lines, like I've got the Ultramarines one here. There are Blood Angels ones. There are, oh my god, the Salamanders ones, which are really good, really really good. I think it has the oldest Space Marine in there, the Salamanders books. And on the flip side of that, you can get like the Chaos Legions have them. Like the Night Lords books are really really good. The Iron Warriors novels are really good. Yeah, you can, if you like Space Marines, there are Space Marine books out there which will really, tickle your fancy. If you go into it thinking, I love the Dark Angels, like the Vulcan, the Lion, he's just come back. He's had his own book called The Lion Sons of the Forest. So there's things like that. You can find a novel at least for pretty much any Space Marine chapter that you're interested in. There's a book I don't have at the minute I wanted to talk about, which was The Infinite and the Divine, which is a book about two Necrons, which they hate each other, and it's basically them putting "This is our get along" T-shirt. They're putting an oversized T-shirt and forced to work together. Fantastic book, really really good. Again, that one's readily available in most Warhammer stores. You'll find that, or online. Just fantastic series. Just fantastic book, even really really well written, really fun actually. You think the Necrons. And like I say, if you're getting into Warhammer for the first time, Necron's just an army of the Terminators. And these guys have their own personalities and they clash. And it's just really good. It's like Dumb and Dumber, but serious. It's really good. Yeah, you can also pick up... so that's a good book, sorry. You can pick up books like these. Heroes of the Space Marines, Tales of the Space Marines, Victories of the Space Marines. These are nice little anthologies to do short stories or whatever to put in together, to put together to a book, and they're really fun. They're really good, quick reads. You find out a lot about a lot of different chapters in the space of 250, 300 pages. You can get a lot of information out there. The Orcs have a book called oh god, is it their Big Daka? I think it's called that. I've forgotten what it's called. I should have had it written down. I'm sorry. It's basically, if you go into a Warhammer store now and look for an Orc book, it's that one that's by Mike Brooks. It's really, really good. It's really fun. I really blanked on the title. I should put this in an editing, but because I went in unprepared, I feel like I shouldn't edit it. We're just going to keep it as it is. Because like I say, I'm the bad boy of Warhammer. You can't stop this. So yes, Orcs, they have some really fun books. Necrons have a couple of great books. Just, the Imperial Guard have a lot. Like there's if you like your stories lighter, again, I've lent this book to another friend, so I can't pull it out. Caiaphas Cain has just is brilliant. If you like humorous Warhammer, or you don't want the grim dark of Ravener or Eisenhorn or the Ultramarines seriousness, try and find a way to get hold of the Caiaphas Cain books, because they are just they're so funny. Caiaphas Cain is a commissar, and they were going to make him a saint, and then they read his journals. And they said, nope, we can't make him a saint anymore. Nope, that's not going to happen. Nope. It's so good. It's got notes from an Inquisitor written into it. Like it's, he's reading, the Inquisitor's reading the journals of this character, and they're putting their notes on it saying, this is just, nope, no, we cannot, nope. Really good series. Really, really great series. Again, hard to get hold of, but really, really good series. I say most of these can be quite serious, but that one is just, I mean, it does have serious moments, but it's not like the others at all. But for my actual recommendation now, this is time for my recommendation of what is the best book. My recommendation is Brothers of the Snake by Dan Abnett. In my opinion, this is the best book to get started in Warhammer. It's not super expensive to go and find out. It's not in print anymore. You can find it on various selling websites like eBay, Amazon, Vinted, the app. You can go on charity shop websites and find it on there. It's not super expensive. It's about the £10 mark. This is really, really good. This is my favorite Warhammer novel. I've read this, I think, about 8 times. It might not see it because I take care of my books, but I've read this about 8 times. It is so, so good. This is the book I've lent to 2 or 3 friends, and then they've thanked me and then immediately hated me because they've gone down the rabbit hole on buying one. It's really good. It's a collection of 5 or 6 stories that tell a longer tale of this Space Marine chapter called the Iron Snakes. Again, it's written by Dan Abnett, and I've mentioned his name like 4 times. But yeah, he wrote this book about his custom chapter of Space Marines, and it's just really, really good. There's 5 short stories. They're all different, but they're all sort of like they follow on as it goes along, and it's just, again, it doesn't overload you too much. It was written in the early days of the novels, coming out, and it's really, really good. Well, I think it was actually, it was written in, I think, 2011, but it's early in the wave of novels. It's really, really good. It's like I say, it doesn't overload you with information. It definitely paints a picture of this chapter and what it does, as well as other alien species in the galaxy itself, and the setting. And it's a really great book to get started with. So any Warhammer book is the best book to get started in. Any book you have access to, that's the best book to read to get into Warhammer. But the one I would recommend, if you're going to go look for one to buy, is The Brothers of the Snake. It's so good, in my opinion. 10 out of 10. Most Warhammer books are, like I say, you'll get some duds and some misses, but Brothers of the Snake to me is the one that stands out as the best novel to read, in my opinion. And a lot of people are going to be like, no, that's completely wrong. It's this book. And then give me a book I've never heard of. And to them, that's fair. That's if your favorite book is something different, if it's one of the Eldar books, got to mention the Eldar trilogy. I'm really sorry. There is a trilogy of Eldar books, like the Path. Is it Path of the Exile? Way of the. I don't remember the names. But they're really good as well. It's just whatever book you have access to is the best book to start reading. If you want a series, then the Gaunt's Ghost books are a great way to get into it. The Horus Heresy, tread lightly, is all I will say. It is a big commitment. You don't have to read all of them. You can find charts online and think, I want to follow the Blood Angels through this, and that's perfectly fine. You go for it. But 64 books is a long slog, and not everyone can do it. And I respect that. If you've done it, fair play to you. Well done to you. I'm on my 3rd attempt. Like I said, I'm listening to the ebooks. Sorry, listening to the audiobooks. This video is going on way too long as it is. I'm listening to the audiobooks at work, so I'm on book like 40 something. But yeah, as for where you can buy these books, like I say, you can go into Warhammer store and see what they have. There's places like Amazon where you would have more luck finding books that aren't really in stock at Warhammer anymore. There are charity shops or thrift stores in America. Go and try your luck in there. I found a few books in there, Warhammer, that I've got on my shelf, and read and loved them. There are charity thrift shop websites. You can find them on there. You can find them on like places such as World of Books, or Abe Books. Oh man, what was that other one? The Book Depository. That used to be really good, but it's shut down now. Amazon, like I say, is really good. eBay, you can go on eBay and find, but like I say, Vinted, the phone app, Vinted, that's really good. I bought a ton of books off of there. So yeah, like I say, try your luck with whatever book you find. If you're looking in the store and you see a book and you think, well, that looks interesting, actually, that looks okay, I'll read that one, then that might be the book for you. But there are so many books out there, it's almost impossible to recommend one for everyone. But let's say Brothers of the Snake for me is that one. And like I say, it's not for everyone. If you have a different favorite book you recommend, let me know in the comments what it is and why I should check it out, and I'll do that. I always have time for reading Warhammer, or at least listening to the audiobooks. You get them on Audible as well. Sorry, that's my bad. You can get these books on Audible as well. So check that out if you have an Audible subscription, or I think Amazon gives away a 30-day subscription for free, and you want to try it out. There are plenty on there. I'm not, sponsored by them or anyone at all. So if you want to sponsor me, that'd be nice. But I'm not sponsored by anyone to say go to this website and pick up, whatever from there. These are just my recommendations. So yeah, well, thank you for watching this video. It's longer than I thought it was going to be. I hope you took something away from this. I know I rambled a lot in there, but the gist is Horus Heresy is really long. Gaunt's Ghosts don't have a favorite character. Space Marine chapter books are really, really good and really fun. Their series are generally in the 3 to 7 book range. Maybe less, maybe more. And just pick up a book and start reading it. It might be the book for you, and if it is, that's fantastic. But if it's not, there are literally hundreds out there that you can find. So yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for watching this video. Like I said, give me a shout in the comments what your favorite book is, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, thank you. Bye.